Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Christina Kent and I'm an oil painter based out of San Francisco. Today I'm going to show you how I paint a surfer catching a wave in California. Let's check it out. So for this painting, I'm working on a panel that has been toned this nice warm orangey color. Since I'll be painting blue water, I think the orange is going to really pop against it and hopefully give the painting a nice warmth that'll come through even with all the blue tones. I'm working with a limited palette, so I have Naples yellow, titanium white, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, and cobalt teal. And I like this limited palette. It's pretty simple. It helps me keep a lot of color harmony in my paintings, but at the same time I feel like I'm able to get a nice range of colors and I'm able to depict a lot of the subjects in reality pretty well with this limited set of colors. And as usual, I start this painting by going in with my darkest sections first. In this painting, I haven't done an underpainting, so I don't already have kind of my darks and lights mapped out. So I just go straight to adding the darkest color, which is this really dark navy blue where the wave, like right under where the wave is curling. And I have a little indication of where the surfer is going to be on the wave. And once I get that navy blue dark in, then I start going to my next darkest value, which is this very deep, beautiful ultramarine kind of blue color that I'm seeing in the ocean. And I mean, I love blues. Blue is just such a beautiful color and has so many great variations. So I wanted to really let the power of blue sing in this painting, because it is a painting of mostly just the water. Sure, there is the surfer there, but it's really about the water and the ocean. I'm not even including the sky in this painting. So we're really just seeing the ocean in the foreground, middle ground, and background. And so because I know there's going to be a lot of blue, then I want to give it some interesting variations. So I am kind of creating some blues that are a little more blue-green and some blues that are a little more bluish-purple, just to add some variation in the large sections of blue, especially in the foreground. I'm also noticing that the white water of the wave is reflecting a little bit onto the part of the ocean where it's breaking, and that's making the colors a little bit warmer. So I'm going in and adding some warmer notes that kind of lean more towards green. I'm using my Naples yellow to create a bit more of a greenish hue, a little bit green-gray, and that's bringing in some of the warmth of this bright white water that is reflecting onto the surface of the ocean. And then you can see as I'm adding in the white of the white water, now the key area of contrast is really coming into focus in the painting. And that's kind of what I wanted the painting to be about, where we have the wave that's curling, you have the white water of the wave, and then underneath it, there's the wave that's in shadow. And that creates a really, really strong contrast between the bright white and the navy blue. And that's going to bring our eye to this part of the painting so that we see the surfer on the wave. Another really beautiful thing that I noticed was that the surfer was casting their own shadow on the white water of the wave, and so I was bringing in some really bright blue to serve as that shadow, which is cool because it's also the part of the ocean that's in light is also this really bright blue. And I really like to find these moments in painting where a color that you use in the shadow area is the same as a color that you use in the light area. I think that it's really cool when that happens, and I don't know if it's like I like the economy of colors or I just like finding the connections between these different zones of the painting, but I just think it's cool when things like that come up. And at this point, I have basically blocked in the whole painting. I have pretty much the whole canvas is covered in paint. You can just see little bits of the orange peeking through. But for the most part, there's paint everywhere. And so I'm going in and starting to refine different areas of the painting. I want to do this very carefully. I like to keep things really simple. And so I don't want to go too too intensely on the detail, but at the same time, we do have these just large areas of ocean, especially in the foreground. There's just this big expanse of blue, and I don't want it to feel like just one big monolithic shape. So I'm going in and I'm adding some kind of expressive brush strokes here just to give you a sense of the water and the flowing movement that's happening in the foreground, just so that it's not just one big shape that could be just boring. I want to give your eye something to look at and also hint at the way that the water is reflecting the light, and also create some shapes that will help just move the eye around the image, because otherwise, like, an image like this I think could be somewhat boring. We just have this kind of flat line towards the top of the painting, and then we have blue on top and blue below, and so I want to make sure that there's some smaller shapes, some points of visual interest that can move the eye around. At the same time, though, while I'm doing this, I'm really careful not to break up this large shape with any really light lights or really dark darks that would end up distracting you from the surfer and from the wave. I want the details here to be more just supporting details rather than something that really draws attention. And I'm trying to keep my mark making really gestural and really expressive to hint at the movement and the feeling of the water. Next, I turn to refining the surfer, which I kind of left for the last part because I have not painted a surfer before and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it. I knew I wanted to keep it very suggestive and not be too explicit with all of every little detail. I wanted you to get the sense of the surfer on the wave without it feeling like I have exactly painted the surfer on the wave. So I'm just trying to use very simple brush strokes, still using a pretty large brush to create my shapes, and using kind of soft marks so that the surfer blends in a little bit with the wave and doesn't look like just a cardboard cutout that was pasted onto the wave. Once I've gotten the surfer resolved to a point where I like it, then I just go in and add some last details, brightening up some of the whites on the wave to really get that sense of this strong summer light, and also adding some more reflection under where the surfer is. So this is the light that's reflecting from the white water onto the rest of the ocean. And I like how this reflection is kind of also serving to draw your eye up towards where the surfer is. So I'm creating some smaller marks here too, giving a little bit more detail in this area that is my focal point of the composition. And these warmer notes of the highlights, I think they bring a nice contrast to the overall coolness of the image. Since there are so many blues in this painting, I think it's nicer to have some of these warmer browns and greens that I'm bringing in. And I add a little bit to the background as well to give you a sense of the ocean kind of moving off into the distance. So here's the final outcome. I think it came out really nicely. I'm super happy with some of the really gestural brush marks that are in the foreground. I think it gives the painting a nice sense of movement and energy, even though the composition is a bit more like flatter with this just straight horizontal lines. So I think the painting feels dynamic, even though the overall composition is maybe more stable. And I also really like the simplification, especially of the surfer. I think at first glance, well, my partner was saying he didn't even notice it was a surfer at first. And then when he took a closer look, he saw it. And I think I really like that, how the surfer is not completely obvious at first. It's not totally dominating the image, but then it does read very clearly once you take a closer look. So overall, really happy with how this turned out. I'd love to hear what you thought of it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And as always, a huge thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and making these videos happen. And if you like my art, if you like my videos, and you want to help me make more, check out my Patreon at the link below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.